Okay, this is the double feature. I'm going to look at Area 51 and Maximum Force for the arcade. In case you're not familiar with these games, they're full motion video arcade light gun shooting games. Atari published both games and developed Area 51. Maximum Force was developed by Mesa Logic. Naturally, I'm going to look at Area 51 first. This game came out back in 1995 and I was like 10 years old when I first played it. So bearing that in mind, I thought this game was pretty badass when it came out. I was also into other shooting games like Virtual Cop and Revolution X. Some of the other full motion video shooting games put out before this were Corpse Killer, Mad Dog McCree, Who Shot Johnny Rock, and there were several others we saw on the Sega CD. And all of those games sucked ass, so I was kinda turned off to games like this. But a really good thing about this game, even though it's full motion video, it still plays more like a traditional shooting game. So the game isn't exactly groundbreaking by any means. It was pretty fun to play on the arcades, but when it came home, you really seen how mediocre the game really was. So this game hit the consoles in 1996. It was released for the Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation, and the PC. I remember when I got a hold of this game on the Sony PlayStation, it was probably the year 2000, so it was some years later. Now when I played this as a kid in the arcades, I remembered it being a pretty cool game. But when I was a kid, I guess I didn't play it long enough to see how much it dragged. So I think the first couple levels in this game are actually pretty fun. There's a ton of action and the visuals are pretty impressive to look at as well. But the later levels in this game are just so boring and feel uninspired. By the time you get to the end, you really just don't even care anymore. And really, this is a pretty short game. I beat it in like 20 minutes, and by the time I get to the end, I am just so bored. This office level is a pretty cool stage in the game as well, but after this, it just goes downhill. One thing I do like about the game though, is that even though for the most part it's full motion video, you can still sort of interact with the levels by blowing crap up. I think putting this game on the home consoles was pointless. The game offers nothing in replay value. After you've beaten it once, why would you play it again? Really, the only redeeming quality about this game is you can use your light gun. But frankly, there's a ton of other shooters that are funner than this game. Also, a big problem with this game on the consoles is the screen's about 25% smaller and the picture quality is a lot more grainy and pixelated. So as you can tell, I'm not too crazy about Area 51, and I imagine a lot of you guys are going to disagree with it. So what can I tell you? I used to really like this game when I played it on the arcades as a kid. But after playing it again, I saw how little this game has to offer, and it's really an overrated shooting game. For whatever reason, I still kind of think of this game as a classic, so it might be worth checking out if you're a big shooting fan. Next, I'm going to take a look at Maximum Force, which was released in 1997. I like to think of this game as the younger brother of Area 51. Unfortunately, it's more cliche and seems even less inspired. So either this game has zero story, or they kept it all away from the game. So the only thing I know about this game is you're killing terrorists. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish, but as soon as you see them, you blow them away until they're just little splats of blood. So much like Area 51, you can finish this game in 20 minutes, and it just gets more boring as you keep going on. This game is actually extremely difficult to beat, because it's just so boring you're gonna want to stop playing. I honestly thought I was playing this game for at least an hour, but after looking at my footage, it only added up to 20 minutes. So I don't know how this game does it, but it has the ability to slow down time. I'm not sure why, but they went ahead and released this game on the PC, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn as well. Much like Area 51, it suffered from the same problems. The screen was about 25% smaller, and the picture was a lot more grainy and pixelated. So Area 51 and this game are very much alike, as you can tell, but this game is more of the cliche super spy bullshit. Really, the biggest problem with this game is it's just so damn boring with these level designs, the enemies you shoot at. I don't understand why this big titty broad is always around. This game just has zero personality, and there being no story doesn't help at all. Really, I don't even understand why they bothered making this game. Area 51 really wasn't that great at all, and this game is a piece of shit compared to it. Area 51 kind of had a good thing going. I think the monster designs and the aliens were pretty original, and the star team, the game had some personality. But like I said, this game is just boring. There's nothing going on. I mean, the only reason you're going to want to play this game is because you have a light gun and you want to use it. So I can bash this game all day, but let me try to figure out some of the good things about it. Well, like I said, it's a shooting game, so it's an excuse to use your light gun. You know, that's it. This game sucks. I hate it. When this game hit the arcades in 1997, there was already a ton of other better games out there. Between Virtual Cop, Time Crisis, hell, I think I'd rather play Terminator 2. Call me crazy, and maybe I'm just speculating, but I think Atari was mad at the fans when they put this one out. I believe this game was put out when Atari was having its financial problems. They were later bought out by Midway. And then Midway put out all those mediocre remakes of Atari classics. You know, of all the companies that could acquire Atari, why did it have to be Midway? I really wouldn't be surprised if we see Midway go bankrupt in the next couple of years with all the shitty games they've been putting out. I actually hope Midway does go bankrupt, then maybe we'll see a good Mortal Kombat game. So my final thoughts, even if you're a shooting fan, I would go ahead and skip this. Sorry if I'm rambling, but you can only see a company drop the ball so many times just before you get annoyed. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I actually wanted to make this a triple review. I also wanted to take a look at the sequel to Area 51, Area 51 Site 4. Area 51 Site 4 looks a lot the same, but I'd like to beat that game just to see how it stacks up to these two games. If an emulator plays that game anytime soon, I'll go ahead and review that as well. So my final thoughts, Area 51 is worth taking a look at, Maximum Force is worth skipping, and I'd still like to play Area 51 Site 4.